effort. They located the vehicle and set up on it with the assistance of our air assets and our canine teams. They encountered the 3 suspects returning to their car and were able, through speed and surprise, take them into custody without any incident or risk to the public. So it's a great effort and a great collaborative work that we've had here, and we're very happy to bring this to a conclusion. So thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Captain McAleer. There's several agencies up here, so we're just going to open it up for questions right now. Mike.
You said that there was 105,000 estimated in Anne Arundel County. The number that we got from Fairfax is 160.
So, Mike, as I think I mentioned, we believe that they are responsible for other crimes, and our detectives are working to connect those dots. As Anne Arundel had just mentioned, their detectives were able to identify previous cases that they were involved with, so that increases the value. So what we had initially put out, that's what we thought at the time, but they're going to continue to put other cases on them as we learn them. So
it's all part of the same total?
Correct, yes.
We'll update those totals for you.
Yep.
Were these all just beauty stores, or how many different retail stops were hit, you guys think, over the last several months?
This crew, we believe that they were targeting specifically all Ulta stores, only Ulta stores. And as I mentioned before, their organized retail team inside Ulta Asset Protection was absolutely vital in bringing this case to a closure as well.
And I'm assuming, are they just reselling these products once they're stolen?
That's what we believe at this point, yeah. You can steal the high-end merchandise, sell it at a discounted rate.
And the juvenile that's also been taken into custody, also from DC?
With being a juvenile, you know that he's local to the area. We'll leave it at that.
We can get you that information. Can I ask, in response to a lot of these thefts that we've been seeing across the region, many stores have been putting cases all over their products. You have to hit a button in a CVS, for example, to try and get what you're looking for now. Is it your suggestion at this time that with these arrests that maybe these stores might be able to come back on some of those security measures, or is this what needs to happen?
Well, I wish that were the case. These aren't the only 3 bad guys out there who are engaging in this type of criminal activity. So the loss prevention community is increasingly sophisticated. So I won't pretend to give them any advice, but they have certainly taken a lot of efforts in recent years, post-COVID especially, to better secure, conceal their high-end merchandise. And I know as shoppers, we all go into stores that we've grown up going into, and we're not used to having to summon someone to unlock the deodorant. But it's kind of gotten there in many regards across the area. The loss prevention officer professional in this particular case with Ulta has been extraordinarily helpful and collaborative, I think, with all of our agencies. So kudos to them, and we certainly don't want to ever give the impression that we're blaming Ulta or any of these stores that are victims of these crimes. And again, and Chief Freed mentioned it, and I said it earlier, every person who was in that store when this crime occurred is also a victim, whether they suffered a loss or not, because those folks are probably not returning to any store anytime soon because they were in harm's way because of these violent criminals. So the loss prevention community stepped up, and they'll continue to step up. We mentioned crime solvers in the Washington metropolitan area. It's crime solvers in the Baltimore metropolitan area where Anne Arundel falls. It's crime stoppers. I can't remember too many phone numbers at once, but I know 1-866-411-TIPS is crime solvers. Crime stoppers is 1-877-LOCK-UP. I was close. 1-867-LOCK-UP. So whether you call crime solvers or crime stoppers, there are more folks out there that we need to identify. Yes, do you be a follow-up, and then Paul?
Yeah, and I apologize because I missed the first half of the news conference, so I deeply apologize. But did you say more about what was it that finally led to their apprehension, and why Ulta?
Ulta, they sell high-end fragrances. What led to their apprehension are our existing relationships. Technology such as flock safety license plate readers was instrumental in this as well. And then our ability to take advantage of other law enforcement technologies that we were able to, with the help of several other jurisdictions, and Chief Freed mentioned the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C., finally know that they were heading to Anne Arundel County. Anne Arundel County really put a team together very quickly and made some significant apprehensions. So they put the handcuffs on these folks, but a lot of work by all of our agencies, Fairfax City, Montgomery County, Prince William County. We've all the detectives have been working together since day one. And then we'll do Paul and then Matt.
Can I get you to go a little deeper on that? Because I'm reading this and it says, the Fairfax County Auto Crimes Enforcement Detectives, with the assistance of real-time crime centers, alerted Anne Arundel County.
Yeah.
So how did you do that?
Well, flock safety.
Go a little deeper than that. So is this where you have a suspected car, where you have a tag, and that you have asked for alerts from tag readers? Is that how this happened?
So license plate readers are instrumental, and today's license plate readers aren't the license plate readers that you and I were introduced to years ago. They have additional technologies, AI technologies attached to their systems. So when we are looking for a car, even if we don't have the tag number, we might have just the make, just the model, just the color. We might have a front left fender that's damaged. We are now able to enter in those particulars into a sophisticated license plate reader platform that allows us to more quickly identify these cars, because, we all know that bad guys change tags. So, but if we still have the blue four-door sedan with a defect to the left front fender, that will send us an alert. Increasingly so, police officers, and I know our entire patrol fleet is being outfitted with Fleet 3 cameras in all of our marked patrol cars. So not only do we have license plate readers positioned throughout Fairfax County based on crime data, all of our patrol officers will have that similar LPR technology in their cars. So it's a force multiplier, and the agencies up here engage similarly with that technology.
So on March 24th at around 5 p.m., your real-time crime center calls Anne Arundel. How quickly were they able to find that car?
So I'll ask Captain McAleer to come up and maybe shed some light on that. It was pretty immediate, and it resulted in a couple arrests.
Yeah, it was actually very quick, and that's that technology and that collaboration. Once we got the notification it was coming in our area, we also have a real-time information center, crime center. It's not as robust as Fairfax, but we're quickly on their heels on that. It was giving us the opportunity to narrow down a location, and then my platoon team, 3 officers, were able to swarm that area, find the car, and then set up on it. So it was a coordinated, rapid event.
And where was that?
The Annapolis Mall. In the Annapolis Mall.
Did they commit a robbery inside the mall at that time, or were they just maybe checking it out, or what?
They did not commit a robbery at that time, so their motives are unclear.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, these guys are odds makers, and you'd think they would quickly realize the odds are against them. We are going to catch these serial groups, whether it's Ulta or whether it's a gun store, whether it's an ABC liquor store. We have seen crews that are increasingly organized who, from the outside looking in, appear to be engaging in organized retail crimes, but they're much more than that. They're armed, their takeover capacity, their takeover tactics are dangerous, not only to the employees of all these places, but to anyone who happens to be in the store. Yes, sir.
Chief, I wanted to, first off, just for simplicity's sake for television, high-end fragrances, is that perfume or does that encompass more than that?
Perfume, for the sake of simplicity.
And secondly,
And perfume and hair products.
Okay.
Expensive hair
And,
products.
you mentioned all this, kind of new AI technology you're using, which you say goes well beyond the license plate readers of the past. I know there's been concerns in the past about, people's privacy, that sort of thing. With the new AI technology, what actually do you do to make sure you're going after the criminals and not others?
Yeah, so we've been on the forefront of data retention in Fairfax County. We only keep license plate reader data for 30 days, and we impose that time limit on ourselves. And we think that's a reasonable amount of time. And I think the communities, all of our communities, are increasingly aware that this technology is used in public spaces. It's not used in anyone's backyard. It's not peering in anyone's living room window. These are public spaces, and the criminals, as you see from today's press conference and previous ones over the last few days, are mobile. They get in cars. They get in cars that they steal, typically. They'll change tags, keep the car as long as they can before they dump it, and the ability for today's license plate reader technology to go beyond the license plate. Now, going beyond the license plate, like I described to Paul, is make, model, color, defect. It gives police officers many more options to be more tactical and surgical in what we're looking for. So in the old days, when we're pulling over every white box truck going down the Beltway, those days are over. We now have the ability to narrowly focus. So that means that we're acting in a more data-informed way, which we believe all of our communities want, particularly the advocacy communities. So the folks that I've interacted with about this technology, from communities, from advocacy communities, they are increasingly aware that law enforcement, all of us, are getting it right, and it's deployed in public spaces where data informs us there are victims of crimes.
Beyond that, just wanted to ask too, that you mentioned how the old days are over where crossing a state line doesn't mean what it used to mean. Can you, besides what you've already described, like what do you do on a regular basis? Like, does Fairfax communicate with Anne Arundel on a regular basis? I mean, do you have calls, emails? What do you do?
Yeah, well, Tom, these real-time crime centers are speaking to each other as these events are taking place. Our ability to, I mean, I've been doing this long enough to remember when it was we'd have to wait for a teletype from the jurisdiction to come from next door before you found out that Anne Arundel or DC was looking for a car. So the ability to share that immediately, whether that flows from real-time crime center to real-time crime center, whether it flows from one communications apparatus to another communications apparatus, police officers, the cops who are out there doing this important work are increasingly taking advantage of the mobile phones that all of our departments issue to them, where they're able to get real-time alerts. I got my bolos when I went to roll call, and they were on a piece of paper stapled to a bulletin board. Those days are over. It happens now and in real time, and cops are able to act quicker on information.
Chief, just for a little bit of clarification, they were using the same stolen car repeatedly, but just kept swapping the tags out on this particular crew?
They were using multiple stolen vehicles and multiple tags, but as the chief had mentioned, in our capabilities with the LPR system, we were able to track and follow those vehicles.
And, do we think they were just working amongst themselves? Are they serving a bigger ring, or is there the boss?
At this time, we believe it's these three involved, but as we mentioned, we believe they're responsible for additional cases. We're trying to get information on that. As the chief had mentioned, I won't even attempt to say the Crime Solvers or Crime Stoppers number, but we ask that if anyone has any additional information, to please reach out to our detectives and provide that information to us to help further this investigation.
Are there any other recommendations that Ulta can do? I know there's already been a few requests for the system, but...
Yeah, you know, and this kind of came up the other day when we were talking about the Dominion gun store burglary. And from what I understand, the proprietor, the owner of that gun store, is going to take some more assertive protection measures. But, you know, again, the loss prevention community associated with Ulta has been very collaborative. You know, they are running a business, and that's what we want for our communities. We want businesses to thrive in our communities. It makes all of our communities healthier and wealthier. And I'm convinced, and I think all of my colleagues are, that at least Ulta kind of gets that. So it's a market, it's a profession that's increasingly sophisticated. It's not just a place where retired cops go after they hang up the badge and the gun. These are professionals, and they're taking advantage of technology in similar ways that we are.
What would be your message for community members who are buying the products from suspects like these?
Well, if a deal sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true, and sometimes it's too good to be true because it's stolen and you're buying stolen merchandise. And you may be doing so unwittingly, but if you find yourself in a parking lot where someone approaches you and pops the trunk of their car to display some fragrances or some hair products, your spidey senses should go up that you're probably interacting with a thief who is trying to sell you stolen goods. So I just think common sense prevails. We know that these markets occur on streets and they occur in other businesses, and you know, we also know that those are places where we get a lot of our best information. So if someone's watching this right now who undoubtedly will call us, 1-866-411-TIPS, and tell us that they were approached at location X which will give us an idea of where to go and identify possibly a place where these stolen goods are being fenced. Because being able to identify a fencing operation enhances criminal charges. The bar, at least in Virginia, is pretty high to charge someone with organized retail crime. That's why we've only been able to do it maybe half a dozen times in the last 2 years. It requires us to prove a fencing operation, and that's a high bar. But the legislation exists, and we're grateful for it. We just think that over time, that law probably needs to be rewritten to be a little bit more public safety friendly. Paul, did you have a follow-up?
Not a follow, I have an off-topic question.
Okay, I would do that at the end. Of course you do.
Off topic.
Is that, anybody done with Ulta? Done? All right, Paul, then Matt.
Two questions. Virginia is now allowing judges to put governors on reckless drivers' cars. What do you think of that?
Good. Good. I think anything that can be done, whether it's automated traffic enforcement or governors on cars of people who have proven again and again and again that they drive recklessly, aggressively, they tailgate, they speed, they make unsafe lane changes, they drive distracted or drunk or high. I think anything that the government can do to change those behaviors should be fair game, because after all, it's not a right that any of us have to drive a car, it's a privilege.
The other question is, you fired an officer named Wesley Shiflett who was convicted, sentenced to prison, and then the governor commuted his sentence. Do you have any comment on that?
So I released a written comment that day. I don't know if it made its way to you, 2 or 3 sentences, and we can put it out. And what I said, I'll try to summarize what I said. My explanation will probably be longer than my 2 sentences, that the criminal justice system has many different facets to it. And one of the pieces of our criminal justice system in America is for certain persons, based on their elected capacity, to commute or pardon. And I respect that as part of America's criminal justice system. So that's how I feel about that. Matt?
Yesterday, Governor Glenn Youngkin with top Trump administration officials announced the arrest of an MS-13 gang leader in Prince William County. And during that time, he mentioned his wanting to amend the budget to withhold money to local jurisdictions or so-called sanctuary cities. Can you clarify where Fairfax County stands when it comes to ICE detainers and your reaction to the idea of withholding funding?
Yeah, Matt, I did not see that press conference, but I'll tell you this. I'm really proud of our gang unit in Fairfax County. It's undoubtedly Northern Virginia's largest gang unit, and they work with detectives from other agencies in Northern Virginia and beyond as well. So our capacity to put down or close murders and robberies and other crimes committed by gang members is something that we've always been committed to. The conversation about immigration enforcement that's happening now, present tense in America, is something that, from a local policing perspective, we do not enforce federal immigration laws as the Fairfax County Police Department. The crimes that we're tasked with investigation are murders and rapes and robberies and assaults and burglaries and thefts and auto thefts and all those crimes that impact all of our communities every day. And I've long respected the role of the federal government when it comes to investigating federal crimes in their purview. So, any assistance that we can provide to any federal law enforcement is something that we've been doing for many, many years when it comes to criminal investigations. But Fairfax County Police Department, or Fairfax County police officers rather, do not enforce immigration laws. There's no database. I can't grab my police radio and check on anyone's immigration status in this room. And the reason why is it's because that's not what we do. We're a proud local police department that serves our community, and the crimes that we are tasked with tackling are crimes that impact our communities each and every day. And then there's another piece to it all where we need people, and I've mentioned crime solvers a couple times and Crime Stoppers. We are very comfortable with the fact that folks who live and work and play in Fairfax County are generally, and we can prove this with data that we collect, are generally comfortable telling us about a crime, telling us about a suspect, telling us about a particular circumstance that we may not know about. So we don't want to engage in any efforts that would deteriorate the trust that our community members have in our police department. So I hope that doesn't sound too wishy-washy. The Fairfax County Police Department enforces state and local laws. The federal law enforcement agencies enforce federal laws, and that has been the case for many, many years, and I don't have any reason to believe that that'll necessarily change in a way that will impact how Fairfax County police officers do their job every day.
Duncan has this impression that Fairfax County is not cooperating at all with immigration enforcement. Is he overstepping the idea of trying to withhold money?
Yeah, it's hard to comment on a press conference that I didn't see, and maybe I'll take a look at that. But some of the questions, and I understand the questions, are political questions. But I can tell you, as the local police chief here in Fairfax County, our plate is full with the enforcement and the investigation of state and local laws for crimes that occur here in Fairfax County. And we do a pretty good job at closing cases here. And I know that'll always be the case. We have Fairfax County detectives who are assigned to many federal task forces: FBI, DEA, ATF, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals. So our relationship with federal law enforcement has always been a strong one. And I have no intention to pull back on any ongoing commitment to federal law enforcement. If there is any type of enforcement going on in Fairfax County, whatever its nature, and federal law enforcement feels that they're in an immediate need of assistance if someone's about to be harmed or if there's an ongoing incident, I expect that we'll be notified to come and help. And that's not new either. That happens routinely. Federal law enforcement, I would say on any given day of the week, is enforcing some federal laws somewhere in Fairfax County.
And for my colleague, just lastly for me, she's doing a story on Road Shark, the recent campaign, 9,000 citations plus, more than the previous. What does that say to you about the driving behaviors?
Well, when I always talk about Road Shark, and we're really proud of Road Shark, and people sometimes say, what is a road shark? A road shark is an aggressive driver. We're not the road sharks. We're the cops. A road shark is an aggressive driver who follows too closely, who makes unsafe lane changes, who speeds, and in 2025 is distracted. So the ability for us to cite with citations or warnings makes our roadways safer. You know, we believe in the two-prong approach. We do believe automated traffic enforcement impacts bad driving behaviors, but we also know that the necessity for traditional traffic enforcement in Fairfax County, and I would argue anywhere else, is so important to get people to amend or change their driving behaviors.
Chief, is there a third arrest in the main defense case yet?
Also in that investigation, we're still working with our regional partners to identify the additional individual involved in that. Yep.
And Chief Davis, just to kind of further on that, what Matt was talking about, so the governor has introduced an amendment to the budget that's supposed to be taken up next week, that he would defund localities that are participating in what he says are sanctuary city policies, and that has to do with holding people, whether beyond if there's no warrant, honoring the ICE detention. We understand that that's a different entity that deals with the jails, really, but in your opinion, is it a problem if he's starting to move funds? Could that affect the police department in your work here?
Yeah, I don't know that he's doing that because, again, I haven't seen the press conference, so I don't want to get too hypothetical here. But all I know is that the daily grind of police work that continues to go on in Fairfax County is something that I'm proud of, and it includes already existing relationships, whether they're task force relationships or otherwise, with federal law enforcement, and I have no reason to believe that that won't continue, and I don't want to make any comments that appear to draw a line in the sand with anybody. So I promise to go back and take a look at that, and ultimately a political discussion is a discussion and or a question that's probably best posed to someone other than the local police chief.
And we have some more info on that, we can get those to you.
And any chance we can see your real-time crime center?
Yes, we will schedule it, and we'll do it in a way so you don't get special treatment because you're Paul Wagner.
We need it today. Pictures help tell us.
So if you want B-roll, see Katie. No promises, but Katie will see you afterwards.
So we'll send you all, in addition to this, we have some assets of video and pictures of the real-time crime center you can use in your story.
But you all have that conversation.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you all for coming out today. We went over a lot of information today. We will be posting the release with all of the pictures and videos that we showed you here today on our blog and on our YouTube channel. In addition, we'll be able to provide you links into some of the questions you asked for about business surveys. So if you have a smaller business